Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 6 of Stories from a Bar. I'm your host, Chris Osborne, and joining me for episode 6 is friend and colleague Mike Townshend. How the hell are you, buddy?
Good. Nice to see you.
It's great to see you. We only saw each other just a few hours ago.
Yes,
so.
Can't be separated.
Nope, not at all. So there are a couple different things going on for this episode. This is a first in a few different ways. First off, this is the first episode I'm doing outside of an actual bar, and we'll get to the reason for that in a minute. And secondly, this is my new recording setup with 2 microphones that I'm using, so now we can sit across from each other.
Yes.
Which makes it a little less awkward than my single open-air mic where I'm sitting next to people.
Yeah, we have to, like country music style, sidled up to the same microphone.
Yes. And we also set up our own little makeshift bar here.
This is a very special bar.
It
Chris.
is.
Do you want to tell them why?
Well, let's call this the Homebrew edition of Stories from a Bar. There is still a bar, technically, because we're calling it a bar. But the idea behind this was to go to a local beverage center, and basically I specifically asked the clerk, and you could see the smile on his face when I did, what is the worst of the worst that you have?
So also this is a store that's known quite well for having really good beer. Like we specifically went to a place that has amazing beer and asked them for the worst that they had.
And you could see the smile just come across the clerk's face, and then how happy he seemed when he was asking the other guy, hey, go back there with them and give them the stuff that doesn't sell.
Yeah, this is like a dream come true for them in many ways, you could tell.
So you're my guinea pig for this equipment and the first home recording here.
Yes.
So we are starting out, normally I usually thank a guest for being on the show, but I guess I should thank you for letting us record at your house.
Yes. You're welcome.
What are we starting out with? Why don't you give the listeners our first beer here?
Of the many horrendous beers that we have picked to sample this evening, today's first is Labatt Blue Light Lime. So I've got a big gripe against the lime beers.
And what is that?
Just that, why would you do it? Why would you make a beer like that?
I have not taken a sip of this one yet. You did.
I did. I had a preview. I wish I had not had a preview. So cheers.
Cheers to that one. Let's take a sip. Did I just drink water or a beer? I can't tell.
It tastes a lot like water. It's got like a really slimy mouthfeel to it. It's not nice.
It's not nice.
It doesn't taste like beer, and it doesn't taste like lime.
I get the taste of neither beer nor lime. It's like they just put lime on the label and then took all the taste out.
I don't know. I mean, Labatt Blue Light can't be that flavorful either. I haven't had. When I drink Labatt, when I go to that level, it's regular Labatt. Like, I'm not a Labatt Light.
Well, I mean, Labatt in general's okay. I used to drink a lot of it in college.
Yep, me too. Same.
But for some reason, I can taste neither Labatt nor lime in this one.
No. Very weird aftertaste too.
What taste?
I don't know. And it smells a little funky too.
It does kind of smell funky. That's not a good sign.
No. You can see why this is probably not a popular seller for most people.
And why the guy was probably laughing as he was filling up our 6-pack for us.
Yes. So these are the ones that were notorious in the store for not selling to anybody. No one would buy these. So these are the ones that we're trying. These are not necessarily the ones like on the top of, Beer Advocate's worst beers list.
No. And in fact, as I was looking into like the worst beers, if you just Google worst beers, there seems to be a general consensus among top 3. And I wasn't looking for like the beers everyone knows. I kind of wanted to keep this focused on lesser known or craft type beers, just because they usually have the weirdest names.
Yes.
Or tastes, I'll say. But the top 3 beers, if you just like Google the worst ones, always came out. It was, first off, Milwaukee's Best and Natural. Is it
It's Natty Light.
Natty Light,
number one worst beer.
Natty Light and Natty Ice were always in the top 3.
Yep.
But they would
select 55.
It was funny. All the list I looked at, Natty Ice and Natty Light would switch between 1 and 3. But Bud Select 55 was that consistent number 2.
Always number 2, worst beer of all time. We don't know why, but it can't be good.
No.
So what do you have like a personal history with drinking bad beer? Like, what's the worst beer you've ever had?
Oh, no brainer. We used to work with like as I mentioned earlier in the show in the opening, we're coworkers, but I don't think you started when another guy, Philip, was there.
No.
Okay.
I've heard the legend of
the
this man.
the legend of Superstar, as I nicknamed him, and it stuck. He no longer works there. Nothing bad happened. No. He got another job somewhere.
Yes. Well, shout out to you, Superstar, if you're listening.
Superstar and his suggestion of the apricot wheat. I think it was the Ithaca Brewing Company. I tried it, and we're no longer friends now.
Oh, man. That's rough. That's rough. I still...
So if he's listening, Philip, I hate you.
That's really bad.
Why? What's your worst?
So what we used to do in college...
And I should also mention our goal is to actually finish these beers. We're not just cracking them open.
Yeah, this is not like a simple taste. This is
we're drinking as we
drink the whole thing, and it's not pleasant.
No.
So I went to college at Michigan State University in East Lansing, and so one of the things we would do was watch the Pistons games, but we would go to like 7-Eleven and we would get the worst 40 ounces of all time.
So what, like Old English?
Old English,
okay.
King Cobra, Steel Reserve.
The malt.
And I would still say, I mean, maybe that's a different category because it's a malt, but I would still say that if you have not been bitten by the King Cobra, you have not had the worst beer of all time. That's probably one of the worst beer or drinking experiences I've ever had.
I haven't done the King Cobra, the oldie, as I like to call it. Yes, that I've definitely had. Have you done the 40 hands where they just tape them to your hands?
I have not.
I haven't done that.
Hands.
I have no desire to do that.
That seems like cruelty to to whomever is the participant.
It really does.
Yeah.
All right. We'll make jokes throughout the episode, but we actually had other subject matter I wanted to get to.
Yes.
More specific, important things, I'll call them. More specifically, a subject that came up at work that we talked about earlier in the week and sent me down a weird-ass rabbit hole. I don't remember how it came up. But
you did a lot of research.
I did a lot of research. It wasn't even my intention to.
You were gripped.
I was.
You had the fever.
I had the fever. The creepy clown fever.
The creepy clown fever. So the idea was... Why do people get scared of clowns, and when did clowns go bad? That was like the driving question.
It was the driving question, and I found some pretty interesting stuff. First off, the consensus, at least in American pop culture, seemed to be John Wayne Gacy was the turning point where America really started to fear clowns.
Notorious serial killer. Yes, John Wayne Gacy.
But in my quest for knowledge on bad clowns, I discovered there's actually a book called Bad Clowns.
Yes. This was a delight to you. You were like the happiest I've ever seen you.
I've been talking about it the last 3 days.
Yeah. You were very, very happy about this.
So Bad Clowns, written by a Benjamin Radford. And I read a few excerpts, and I'll get to, I don't know if I'd call it the highlight, but certainly an intriguing clown that he lists in his book.
Yes.
But
none of these are really like... So bad beer and bad clowns.
Bad beer, bad clowns.
None of these are super comforting to listen to. Just stories about.
Well, I'll start up. Well, what is, like I said, in my creepy clown research, I should also mention that, well, I will save that part until we get through this list.
Okay.
Another Google search I performed shortly after just creepy clowns. But
this was a very deep rabbit hole he went down.
It was. And I've seen shit I cannot unsee now.
That's what you told me, and I believe you. You seem like someone had hurt you, so...
I feel emotionally scarred. This book, of course, has a top 10 bad clown list.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of those out there, so this is... I don't know. I guess your top 10 most fearful clowns are up to you. But there's a few on this list that I found pretty intriguing.
And very weird, and some of them were not ones that we had heard before.
No, but the first one they list off is the Joker, which, the Batman villain, honestly, I don't know, just the fact that he's a comic book character, like a big one, a main one, that everyone knows. I never just thought of him as an actual clown.
I know, and we were talking about this earlier, and you almost didn't even want to mention it because you felt like maybe he wasn't creepy enough or maybe not enough of a clown.
It's not the kind of creepy clown I was thinking when I Googled. I'm talking about the ones that just lurk around. You don't know what they're going to do.
See, that was one of the key ingredients, too, of what makes clowns creepy. It's the unexpected.
It is, and... I can't believe I did this much research on creepy clowns. I feel like I haven't researched something this much since college in the last 3 days. when I could have done anything else that's absolutely more productive.
This was like a thesis for you. This is like an independent study. He dived. It was a very, very deep dive.
In the studies I was looking at, that is the general consensus of what makes clowns creepy. You don't know what they're going to do.
Don't know what they're going to do.
You can't see their face, and you just don't know.
Unexpected. Are they going to make you laugh?
If they're going to make you laugh, touch you, hit you, or just stand there and creep you out.
Run around.
Run around.
You don't know.
No.
You do not know.
So, I don't remember. We just took a quick little break because we're going to move on to our second beer. I don't know. Which one do you want to go with? We've got 5 more here to try to reluctantly chug down.
Why don't we try Dale's Pale Ale?
Dale's Pale Ale.
So this one stood out to us on the store shelves. This one was really...
I saw this. The can has a red, white, and blue color. And it was funny. My first thought when I saw this was, this looks like it was brewed in a redneck's bathtub somewhere down south.
Yes. Very simple, kind of off-putting can design. I mean, it's like red, white, and blue, like really grungy-looking font.
Yes, and it's by Osaka Blues Brewery. I've not tried this before.
So we don't know if this is good or bad.
No, so let's take a sip.
It smells a little like Scotch tape, and I'm not sure why.
Oh. Oh.
I'm not sure that that's pale, and I'm not sure that that's ale.
I think it's goat urine.
It may well be. So, hashtag not sponsored by Osaka Brewery or whatever it is.
No, they're not. They will never be a sponsor of the podcast.
Burning bridges, bud.
Hey, that's why I said no place local.
Yes.
But
gotta keep it above the belt.
By God, we're gonna get our money's worth and finish these.
Man, what have we done?
Back to the creepy clowns, because like I said, this has been bothering me all week. I have a list here. They had the Joker listed as their number 1 creepiest clown.
Yep.
I guess I never thought of him that way, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, and been around for a long time. First appeared in 1940 issue of the Batman comics. So it's quite a long-standing creepy clown for a lot of people.
Yes. There's also characters on here I've never heard of.
Yes.
Mr. Punch. I've never heard of this guy, did you?
Mr. Punch.
The red-capped, gleeful, wife-abusing serial killer star of Punch and Judy puppet shows since the 1600s.
Oh, Punch and Judy, I have heard of that.
Remains popular today as family entertainment, which seems to contradict the first
part of it, yes. Yeah. But, I mean, have you ever been to, like, a Renaissance fair and they have that little puppet booth and they just beat each other up?
That's what it
Punch
is.
And Judy, yeah.
I looked it up. I just went to Wikipedia afterwards, and that's what it was. It was kids and their parents sitting around that little puppet show, somebody behind the booth with a puppet on each hand, and I can't believe it was family entertainment.
It's very weird. It's not something that most people would seek out, I don't think.
So Mr. Punch.
Mr. Punch.
Yeah, that was just seeing kids and their parents out there watching this puppet show of a clown that just beats his wife and murders.
Yeah, it's pantomime. It's like a whole show about domestic abuse for kids.
It is.
Which is really, really weird.
It is super weird.
And it's been going on since the 1600s, right? 1600s.
And
that's amazing.
Yeah, I'd say that would put an early childhood scar over the clown issue. Metaphorically, a metaphorical scar.
So the one of the other things that is interesting about the research of why clowns are creepy is because of the face paint too, because it alters the face in such a way that
it alters the face, and it, from what other stuff I was reading, accentuates any abnormalities.
Yep, and so it becomes almost corpse-like, and people have a real aversion to dead bodies. So that's kind of what freaks people out psychologically about clowns.
Rephrase that. Most people have an aversion to dead bodies.
Yes. People who work in mortuaries might be a little bit immune to that.
They might be amenable, I'll say. One of the standouts...
I'm sorry. This is like one of the worst.
We're still trying to drink this goat urine.
Dale.
One of the things I did not count on when I came up with this idea to pick out the worst beers, in going to one of those make-your-own six-pack places, the six-pack selection is usually not in the cooler.
Yeah, so these are warm.
These are like room temperature now, because we only had so much time between picking them up.
So to make it even better for the listening public at home,
we are drinking room temperature terrible beers.
to accentuate their
to give you-
natural flavor and body.
And to warn any listeners, you don't want to drink this.
Well, you know, the thing that I will say for Dale's Pale Ale is good lacing on the inside of the cup. Do you see the head coming down? Supposedly that's one of the harder things to achieve.
There was a lot of foam.
Yeah.
So you're saying that's where Dale put all his attention to?
Yeah, Dale focused entirely on the foam and not on the beer, apparently. So this is every time I drink it, I'm not having fun.
Back to the clowns. One of the ones that stood out, Ouchie the S&M Clown.
Ouchie the Clown.
San Francisco-based Ouchie the Clown has been dispensing bondage and beatings to deserving/undeserving
This is like
clients since 2001 in America's premier provider of adult clown services.
why would you pay for that?
I don't know. And the one thing that stuck out the most to me because the list I was looking at had pictures of the clowns.
Yeah.
He's not even a good-looking guy. He looked overweight,
Okay.
bald, just wearing his clown cap. You could tell he didn't have any hair.
Some people are into that.
With
Chris.
just his face painted. I'm like,
no judgment here.
I'm not trying to judge someone based on looks. It's the clown factor.
Yes.
This is
so. It's hideous sometimes with the clowns. Yeah.
I did not go into more research than this statement on him.
Yep.
Mainly because I was afraid of the kind of websites that would come up.
Yes. So that's not a really good thing to have in your internet search history looking for Ouchie the Clown. So not recommended.
But I will say I'm not surprised he's in San Francisco.
Yeah, I could see that.
What else is on the list? We have, of course, Pennywise.
Yes, the famous clown from Stephen King's It, which we were both surprised to find.
That's not the real turning point of like the evil clown
Yeah, in terms
in
of
America.
Yeah, for
where people
popular
really
culture.
started fearing.
Because that was when people.
He was
really,
creepy as shit. Yes.
Yes, Tim Curry was amazing. As
Which
Pennywise.
the book came out in the '86, movie in '90 with Tim Curry.
Yep.
So just about it, and of course there was the remake. What, last year now?
And the remake was really good. Did you see it?
I haven't seen
Yeah.
that. If you're looking for where America kind of really developed their fear of clowns,
Stephen King certainly helped. And
he helped. He advanced it greatly, but John Wayne Gacy laid that foundation.
Yes. Yep. So that is the next clown on the list.
He is the next clown on the list. Serial killer who liked to dress up. He was not a professional clown.
No.
He was actually a contractor and would dress up as a clown, kind of like by request.
Okay.
Which I don't even know where to go there.
He's also the subject of a indie rock song by Sufjan Stevens, John Wayne Gacy.
Okay,
Yeah.
is he really?
He is, yeah.
I know the artist, but I haven't heard that
It's
song.
it's what, it's a very weird song because it's written from his, like, the point of view of a murdered guy who was murdered by John Wayne Gacy.
All right.
Ish. So look it up if you get the chance.
I will look that up later on. Of course, he killed dozens, stabbing and strangulation.
Yep, in the Chicago area.
Chicago area, like I said, never a professional clown, contractor by trade. He occasionally volunteered as Pogo the Clown, which was his clown ego. And painting clowns when he was in prison is what really freaked people out,
Yeah,
too.
and he looks very freaky in the picture.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, he's
like,
disturbing looking.
in the way that a lot of murderers have the natural snake eyes that just, they look like they want to rip you apart. Imagine that coming from a clown.
I don't want to imagine it. I think it's time to move on to our third beer.
Yes.
This one is Mama's Little Yellow Pills, which I just realized was the same brewery as good old Dale.
Yeah,
Dale's
so
Pale.
we were surprised
Osaka
by that.
Blues Brewery. The key line I remember the guy at the beverage center as he picked this one up was, I call this one Mama's Little Yellow Piss.
Yes. So, not well favored with our beer salesman. He was not happy about
No,
it.
he laughed because he knew we were going to drink it.
Yes. So he was having fun at our expense, but he was not a fan of this one.
He did not appear to be a fan, so let's give this one a try. Oh, that has the strongest stench of the three so far.
That's skunky, man.
That is, oh.
How do you...
Did they just have a skunk spray into the can?
Well, I know, like, one of the big things that ends up skunking beer is light. And this is in an aluminum can.
What, did they brew this one out in the middle of an island in the ocean?
Like in the middle of the desert.
In the desert?
In the middle of the midday
This one's
desert exterior.
We don't have a roof over our brewery. It's just a tank in the middle of the desert.
I think this is even worse than Dale's Pale Ale, don't you think?
I'd rather drink Dale's Pale Ale straight from his bathtub.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. Why did they think this was a good idea? I mean, I think there are some pretty grim statistics about new breweries and like how often they fail.
Let me throw this out there. We really have no other knowledge about Osaka Blues Brewery other than these two beers. So I'm not going to say that all of their stuff is terrible.
No,
but these two in particular,
these two are not the best showing.
I'm recommending staying away from as I continue to drink it
because they like kind of gives you gut rot too because it seems like
it's
very acidic.
I feel
like
it
burning going down.
I feel it inside me.
You know the David Cross show.
I thought you were going to follow that up with a "That's what she said."
That's what she said. Hold on. You can edit this in. That's what she said.
I'm going to let that play out just as it did.
Rewind that a little bit, and we can. Yeah. Just imagine that had followed right.
Yes.
After.
Just imagine you said that immediately after what I said.
Yeah, but Todd Margaret with David Cross, where he's trying to sell the Korean, like North Korean energy drink called Thunder Muscle. Like this reminds me of Thunder Muscle. Like this seems like something that is borderline illegal to have on the shelves. Like this is just you gotta sell this hard.
All I see when I take a sip of this is that beverage guy laughing at us.
Yes. Yeah, and maybe appropriate that we're talking about clowns because there was a lot of laughter at the beer store. So
I think we made their day.
I think so. They seemed very happy to help.
Yes, they did. What else was on this list? There was Frenchie the Clown, which was just a National Lampoon in their magazine's clown that they created. I'm going to skip over him.
Okay. All right.
Don't care about him. Shakes the Clown.
See, that's funny to me. You're like, yeah, nope, not that one.
Don't care.
Screw that clown.
I didn't even read National Lampoon. He had a thing with drugs, sex, and National Lampoon stuff that you would expect to see in any of their comics.
More of a Mad magazine guy, right?
Shakes the Clown. The name sounds familiar. I want to say I've heard of him, but the description, I don't remember anything about an actual movie. The description says, written and portrayed by Bobcat Goldthwait. Shakes the Clown was featured in the 1991 film of the same name. This was my favorite line in the description. Described as the Citizen Kane of alcoholic clown movies.
That should have
been the tagline on the movie poster.
If it's not, they were not doing their job
No.
well. That's amazing, yeah.
Someone failed at their job if that was not the tagline of the movie. Apparently, in the film, Shakes is framed for a murder by a rival clown and must clear his name while sobering up, reuniting with his lost love, and harassing mimes in his spare time. That sounds phenomenal, and I'm going to look this movie up.
I feel like that's maybe...
I think that's worth a watch.
You can come back with an update in a future episode and let people
I'm going
know how
to.
the movie is. Yeah.
We can get another live stream it. Get another terrible 6-pack as we do it.
Yes, that could be a good sequel to this one. Another homebrew edition.
Another homebrew edition. Remember, folks, we're doing this for you.
This is so you avoid the stuff that you probably should not get at the store. Yes.
Now
and avoid the clowns who will make your life miserable.
Yes, you should avoid clowns at all costs to begin with. But I saved the clown I did the most research on for last.
Yeah, and this is like a regrettable thing to be researching. This is not. This is not good, man.
Crotchy the Clown. Yes, I said Crotchy. Who I had never heard of. I don't know why I was intrigued. Crotchy the Clown was charged with obscenity for exposing himself while hosting a public access show called Cosmic Comedy in the 1990s.
This gets better and better.
Oh, it gets better. Wait, I in my additional research, I took some notes. He appealed his conviction, and his case ended up with the Nebraska Supreme Court being forced to watch him, let's say, finish off a certain self-pleasuring task.
Yes. So like Conan O'Brien's favorite bear, the self-pleasuring bear, this was the self-pleasuring clown. And in Nebraska,
oh God, that's very bad. This beer is hurting my stomach.
I kind of wish we had like a video of this just to see like the facial reactions because we're both wincing every sip we take.
I thought about taking videos. That was a good idea.
Yeah, like this reminds me of some of those YouTube ones where like people are eating hot peppers and like trying to talk about things. You know?
Oh yeah,
this is nasty stuff.
If I compared Dale's Pale Ale to goat urine, I don't know what I would compare this to.
Let me give it another taste.
Give it a taste.
God. Oh God, this is not good. This tastes a little bit like flat beer that's been sitting in a solo cup after a beer pong game for like maybe a week.
Ooh, that's a good.
Like the.
All
the
I would
dry...
add to that would be if you took that solo cup and put it in someone's trunk for a solid 24 hours with the sun beating down.
Yes, real hot beer is what it tastes like. Yeah.
It tastes like a good hot beer.
Tastes like a good hot beer, yes.
Even though it's room temperature beer.
Yeah, it's nasty. Like it's.
Ugh.
Yeah, this is like already giving me heartburn. Like this is a nasty beer.
Back to Crotchy the Clown because I had some more notes on.
Focus, man.
Focus. Well, we're 3 beers deep now. Anyway, 2 beers.
That's regrettable.
Yeah, so we had his. As it turns out, his public access show was in 1995. He was a school bus driver.
Why am I not?
Was his day job. I feel like that seems pretty inappropriate, even more inappropriate.
Yeah, this is getting worse and worse, man.
In Lincoln, Nebraska. Apparently, the show was actually... You wonder why he was caught pleasuring himself on the show. It's because it was a public access show where, dressed as a clown, he would review adult films with clips.
Yeah. And you were saying that for some reason under Nebraska state law, this was not... something.
Apparently, I got to read a couple pages from the Bad Clowns book because this is where they talked about him. Apparently, local citizens, as appalled as they may have been, it somehow did not meet the legal definition of obscenity for Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yes,
which
and that's
boggles
surprising.
my mind.
That's surprising.
It boggles my mind.
I mean, we do know that the western states, I
lived in the South for a long time. That was the Bible Belt. If there was another Bible Belt, it would be the Midwest.
Well, yeah, but sometimes the western states just kind of are content to let people do what they want, but this seems very extreme.
My favorite, I'll say, explanation of what he did in the again, this was in the Bad Clowns book, so I can't take credit for this pun, but I really wish I could. He got in trouble when he juggled one ball too many and crossed a line.
I mean, this is a direct callback to the dad joke episode. That's a very good.
This was better than any of the dad jokes. I'll admit that.
Well, that's a low bar to climb over.
Well, thank you. That crossing the line, you may ask, is because when he was caught, we'll say, finishing one of his reviews. He was naked except for face paint, and the camera was on him from chest up while he was finishing his review of an adult film.
And a jury was forced to watch.
And a jury was forced to watch that
proceedings. Yeah,
apparently other parts of the show.
Oh, man, this is kind of a depressing list.
It is, but it's fascinating.
It is. Yeah.
Why America's so creeped out by clowns?
Yeah.
Mainly, let me put it this way: clown wallpaper when you're a kid does not help.
No. Did you have that?
No. Luckily, I did
part
not.
Of the household?
No.
When you were growing up?
That was another thing that a lot of the studies I read listed.
Clown wallpaper?
Yeah.
Like, why would you think that was a good idea?
I don't. It's always so creepy.
Go to bed, little Jeffrey. Here's the clown.
There's no good pictures of clowns, whether they're evil or not.
No, I mean that's like a terrible idea. This is just bad parenting, right there. It's like, honey, what are kids like nowadays?
Clowns.
Let's put the wallpaper with the clowns in the room. He'll like it. This is not a good thing, man.
I should also mention that in my research, I actually Googled the term clown beatings.
Yes. Surprising number of videos you found, right?
Well, It's not even that. It's the fact that all the results were videos, basically.
Yes.
I'm like, how many clowns have been beating?
B10. Yes.
We're drinking these beers pretty fast.
Yes. It's a good time.
It is. But before I go into some good clown beating antics, I'm ready for the next one. What about you?
All right.
You want to do pork slap pale ale?
Pork slap. So pork slap I have had before. So I don't remember it being too good, and I don't remember it being too bad. But let's see how we feel about it.
We'll see how this goes. Let's give it a good pour.
We mostly picked it because it has a fantastic name.
I was only focused on the name.
And the logo is a pig giving a high five, right?
No, they're not. They're giving
belly bust.
Belly bump.
Yeah.
Not the chest bump, the belly bump.
The belly bump. So that's a hell of a logo. Whoever made this, our hats off to the logo designer for Pork Slap Beer.
The Barnyard series, as it's called. What is... I don't know if this is an actual... What the brewery actually is.
Yeah, let me
You take a look at that.
I can.
I'm going to try to take a sip through all this foam.
Butternuts Beer and Ale is the name, I think. Yeah, Butternuts Beer. This is actually a New York beer. I have to say, compared to the rest of them, though, this is like angelic. This is not.
This has the weirdest texture of any of the beers I've drinking so far, but somehow it's not worse than Mama's Little Yellow Pills.
No, it's kind of like a cream ale almost. It's got a softness to it when you drink it, and
it's got like a silkiness to it.
Silkiness, yeah.
I don't care for it.
It's not the worst though. It's definitely.
I feel like I could taste pig.
I don't. Do they flavor it with beer?
Do they flavor it with beer?
Pork flavored with beer.
Oh man.
Yeah. Have you ever done any or tried to do like any home brewing or anything?
I have not. I really think I would blow something up.
It's
not going to come out.
It's not that dangerous, but this, there's a lot of.
This feels like a failed attempt at the homebrew.
It feels like one of those kits that you get, like a Mr. Beer kit, and you got like the nasty syrup that you've been mixing around.
That's what it tastes like, a bad syrup.
Yeah. So it must be syrup based. It's not even real grains. That's a common thing with cheaper beers, I think.
All right, so back to clown beatings.
Yes, clown beatings. So we're actually getting into a discussion of beer.
Yes.
Back to the clown.
Back to beating a clown. So I Googled clown beatings, which people... I told a few people that I just Googled clown beatings, and just immediately they shook their head and looked down.
It's a hard thing to like get on board for, Chris.
And to my surprise, pretty much, I was expecting a few videos just based on news stories that have come out over the last few years,
especially around when the new It movie came out. It
was going around the country where clowns were coming out of the woods. But I did not respect basically only videos of people beating clowns.
This is like 100% pretty much videos.
If you Google clown beatings, you're going to get more videos than articles by far. And
you will regret watching most of them.
You will. Like I said before I started this, I've seen shit I cannot unsee.
Yes.
But
the descriptions of what you told me about it did not seem fun.
No, certainly not for the clown.
No, and like to document what essentially is assault, and like probably
it really is assault.
like this is something like police could use as evidence in court if these
evidence
are real.
Videos.
Yeah. It's like filming. Filming a murder spree almost? It's just dumb.
There was one video that I did not watch that said it was just over 10 minutes long. I don't know how you beat a clown for that long.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It's like you're beating the clown till there's literally nothing left but paint on pavement.
And you hope like maybe some of these are setups. Maybe some of these
none
are
of these
real.
Were setups.
But from what you were saying, these looked legitimate. Which, again, is like, I have my Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate myself, but here's my video of me beating up a clown. Do with that what you will, jury. This is not
I gotta wonder if something like that goes to trial where the person that beats a clown is on trial. If the clown's intent comes into question.
I don't know. I mean, because wouldn't he have a First Amendment right to be a clown?
Well, I feel like if you dress up as a clown and go out in public, there should be a reasonable expectation that you could be beaten at any given moment.
I guess. But, like you do what, like equal protection under the law should also apply to clowns.
Clown rights?
Clown rights.
Clown rights? They have
not to be a clown rights advocate over here, but
we can send that one to the Supreme Court.
We'll send that one to the Supreme Court, see how they feel about clown rights.
Clown rights.
Our First Amendment, a right to be a clown.
It's so ridiculous.
But, like, it is speech, I guess.
I will put this out there. If you watch one clown video, that's enough.
Yeah, not even like
clown beating video.
You've seen one, you've seen them all, right?
Yeah. It's not like the underlying story changes in any of them.
No, it's violence for the sake of violence.
It's not like people start to beat a clown and go and realize, oh my God, I made a mistake. You're here to make me laugh.
Yeah, no, none of these seem to have a happy ending.
No,
it's not like you can hear the clown shoes honking as the beating is taking place, or there's some sort of punchline at the end. There is no joke.
No,
it's just a lot of.
There's
brutality.
many more red welts than just the clown's nose when people are done. You wouldn't believe some of the violence these people harbor towards clowns.
I understand
being uneasy.
Yeah, I can understand the queasiness with clowns and the like not liking them around. I once learned that one of the coworkers that I had at like a part-time job was a clown, and I was like very off put by that. I'm like, I can't imagine.
We can't be friends anymore.
Kind of, like what are you? Why are you? Why? And it's like, yeah, me and my girlfriend, we are both clowns. And it's like, you met your girlfriend being a clown? It was just like the weirdest
I feel like that should
thing.
be a red flag for both of them.
He was a really nice guy, though. So you could see, maybe, but I don't know. But
it's a clown paint that brings out that alter ego, though.
It maybe, and I forget, like, it was a classic clown name, like Bojangles or something like that. He's like,
Bojangles.
You gotta put your clown paint on, and like there's a whole thing to it.
All my clown accents are a deep, southern, scary, terrible accent. They all blend. They're all the same.
Okay, so what's the most creepy thing that you can say as a clown in that voice?
Hello, little boy.
Okay, what's my creepy clown impression?
You got something?
It's time to die, children!
That's a good one.
I hope your kids upstairs heard that.
Yeah, that might have scared them a little bit, but
I was not expecting that. Hello, little boy. That's like the Deliverance clown. If there was a clown in Deliverance,
oh man,
that's how he would sound.
Well, because that's kind of like the Rob Zombie movies. What is the clown in the Rob Zombie?
I didn't
movies?
watch any of them.
Oh man, like House of a Thousand Corpses.
I know of them. I just haven't seen them. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. But he is truly a creepy clown. I feel like that guy deserves to be on the list.
Like I said, there's other lists. You can rank clowns however you want. This was just, like I said, the biggest one on here that caught my attention was Crotchy the Clown.
Crotchy the Clown. Yeah. Regrettable. A lot like this beer.
This nice tie-in.
Yeah.
I like it.
Segue.
I did not set out for this whole episode to be about creepy clowns and people's hatreds of clowns.
Yes.
Because I mentioned, of course, that we're coworkers, so I know that you used to be a journalist and have some fun stories from that.
Yes.
Most of interest to me is your interview with Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, yes, from The Evil Dead. So that was amazing. So this was like when I was first starting out in journalism, like right out of college. And my editor knew that I was a big Bruce Campbell fan. So he's like, he was coming into town to talk about The Man with the Screaming Brain.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. I need to. Bubba Hotep is freaking fantastic.
Yes.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely amazing. So
where Bruce Campbell is an elderly Elvis in a retirement home that...
being chased by a mummy.
That's what it is, yes.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, so that's why
it sounds ridiculous, but it's ridiculously awesome.
It is. It was surprisingly high quality. I mean, it, like, how could it go wrong? But that is a movie. Definitely, it could not have been the best movie, but that's definitely a good one. But very, very amazing to interview. And
I can only imagine.
Yeah, because
I feel like he basically plays himself in most of the things that he does, just to extreme extents.
Yeah, and it was
based on the circumstances.
Yeah, and it was interesting too because I asked him a little bit about like what was it like making the first Evil Dead movie, and what was it like working with the Raimis and that kind of thing. And the thing that I never picked up on that apparently I guess maybe other people had picked up on is that the whole movie is slapstick. Like it was,
oh yeah,
it's them trying to do like the Three Stooges.
Well, have you read any of his books? I know you didn't read them before you talked to him, right?
Well, I was in the midst of reading one, so I was kind of like.
He's got 3 books.
Yeah. I didn't read the memoir. I read the novel.
Okay, his first book was a lot of the behind the scenes recording of Evil Dead and things like that. The second book, Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way.
Yeah, that's the one I read.
You could not have come up with a better name if you were him.
And that was a very saucy book cover too.
A fictional story where he plays himself, just an entirely ridiculous fictional scenario.
And if you're a fan, that's probably worth.
Oh, it is classic Bruce. And of course, his third book was more behind the scenes stuff, and just since the Evil Dead days.
Yeah,
really.
and it was interesting to talk to him too because my home state is Michigan, so the Raimis and him, they were all from like the Detroit area.
Oh yeah.
So it was interesting to talk to him about like what it was like to have grown up in Michigan and then gone on to do bigger and better things. And amazingly enough, he signed off the phone call by saying "shop smart, shop smart."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I would have just sat there holding the phone with like my jaw dropped.
I think I've told you like parts of this story before, and you've been like,
that's why I brought it up.
Very amazed. Yeah, because you're.
I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. I have a Bruce Campbell mouse pad that my girlfriend Sarah gave me, which I feel like it was probably the most uncomfortable thing she ever bought. 'Cause she can't stand the Army of Darkness movie, or Bruce Campbell. And of course, I have the Army of Darkness poster that I hung up at work.
Yep.
That gets a lot of comments.
It does. And you briefly changed your profile picture at work to Bruce Campbell.
Oh, yes. At work, we have our own internal instant messaging system where you can put up your profile picture. I tried to import a picture of Bruce Campbell, just his head. It was up for 2 weeks before I got that official email saying, this needs to change. It's not you.
Well, the other one, too, was Kevin Bacon. Because you do have kind of a Kevin Bacon-esque look.
I've posted this on Facebook, and I'll have to post it on Instagram and see what people see, and Twitter.
Separated at birth.
There is this picture of Kevin Bacon. Well, before we go into this, it looks like we're ready for beer number 5.
Yes. So
we are down to the last 2 here.
Down to the last 2. So we have one that's...
I think... I'm going to just do this Sam Adams one that I've never heard of.
Yeah, I think we might need a bottle opener to do that
Hold on.
All right.
I have a bottle opener on my keychain because there's nothing like having a bottle opener on your keychain. This is a Sam Adams Raspberry Lemon Goose? Goosey? Gozy? I don't know what that is.
Apparently, it's a style of beer. Neither one of us had heard of it, and we're pretty versed in that world.
I've never heard that term before.
Maybe it's like a fruit beer. I mean, you can. I guess one of us eventually, when we have a free hand, can Google and figure out what the hell this is. Because I don't know what that kind of beer is. But this was
internet reception doesn't work down here, buddy. We are in Mike's basement.
Oh man.
For this homebrew edition.
Okay, let me see if I can get some get on the Wi-Fi over here.
We'll worry about it another time.
Okay, but this was.
If you want to know what GOSE is, just Google it and tell us.
Yes, leave a comment down below.
Leave a comment and tell us
and subscribe.
What the hell we're drinking, and also like and subscribe. So let's give this one a quick sniff and taste.
It doesn't really have a strong odor.
It doesn't have as much of a smell as opposed to the pork slap we just tried.
Mm-hmm. Oh. God, that's like fruit flavored fish bucket water. That's like a fucking bilge water tank. That's nasty.
I know it's bad because you're dropping F-bombs over there.
This is not a friendly beer. This was one of the ones when we were at the store that they like, even more so than any other, they were laughing out of the store.
Oh, yeah.
And for the sake of their privacy, we will not reveal which store this was.
No. it's a good store.
It is a very good store.
And like I said, we asked for the worst of the
And
worst.
we did ask, yes.
So it's not like we went there and they just gave us bad shit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it didn't hit me as much on the first sip. It hit me more on the second. I'm like, oh yeah. That is... Oh, that is unpleasant. But we're sucking this down for the listeners.
Oh, God. Oh, that's brutal, man.
Words escape me right now.
It is. It's did you ever see the episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 where they're reviewing Manos, The Hands of Fate? And
I did not.
You can tell like their brain is dying because it's such a bad movie. I feel like this is the Manos, The Hands of Fate of beer. This is a very bad beer.
I got to tell you, as bad as this is, I'm looking least forward to the one we saved for last.
Yes. So
no, we'll get there.
Surprises. Yes.
We'll get there. No teasers.
Okay.
But what were we talking about? Oh, Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, yeah.
Why I can call him Dad.
Yes, your father, Kevin Bacon.
My father.
If you're listening, please contact Chris Osborne.
There's a picture of Kevin Bacon out there on the internets that I don't know. It's got to be like 1980s, I would guess, right? Early 80s?
Yeah, it's when he's very
super young Kevin Bacon that literally looks like a mirror image of myself.
Yes. And that one you had up, and people didn't catch on for a long time.
No, after I was told to take down my Bruce Campbell picture, profile picture at work, I put up this picture of Kevin Bacon, and it went around for a couple weeks. I even got an email, and I think this is...
you really look like Kevin Bacon.
I think this is what sealed the fate, what caused me to get the official email to take it down, because someone probably had a stick up their butt. I get an email from one of the people, a group email, so there was a number of people on it going, "Dead ringer for Kevin Bacon." And I had to reply, "That is Kevin Bacon."
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, you could maybe recreate that photo.
That is my goal. I got to grow my hair out a little bit, get a leather jacket to fling over my shoulder, and I'll put this picture up for people to see.
And if you did that and you posted that at work, they couldn't tell you to take that down.
I got to find that orangish background that it's in.
It was like a very burnt orange, like a weird color. Probably some like photographer's background that they're like, hey, stand in front of this Kevin Bacon.
It was like headshot or something for like his
just like
early acting
like
days.
a studio backdrop in some photographer's studio somewhere.
And it's funny because he just came through town with his brother because they have a band called the Bacon Brothers. I thought, how great would it be if I got to
because
I've never listened to any of their music.
And I was hoping to meet him backstage.
I threw out that Hail Mary email to like their media person. Hey, would Kevin Bacon and his brother be interested in being on a podcast? And
I've taken a paternity test. I know it's you.
Because all I wanted to do was to just walk in there with that picture and go, "Hi, Dad."
Yes, that would have been a hell of a time. I did find more out about this style of beer. If you would like to read that,
I will take a look at this. Goose, is that
Gose?
I call it goose. Goose has two O's, right?
I don't know because it's a German word. So
Goose is a top fermented beer that originated in Goslar, Germany. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's brewed with at least 50% of the grain bill being malted wheat. Dominant flavors in Goose include a lemon sourness, herbal, charismatic, and strong saltiness.
I get the saltiness coming.
If there's one thing I want in my beer, it's salt.
Yeah, but why? Why though? Why is this a style of beer? You know what I mean? I guess I would have to have a good version of this to know.
You asked the perfect question, and that's simply just why.
Why? Yeah.
Why?
So
I drink this, I take a sip, and I just ask myself, why?
So let us know if you know the correct pronunciation of this word, and also let us know if there's a better version of it that's not the weird Sam Adams.
That's not Sam Adams raspberry lemon goose.
Give me the goose.
Give me the goose.
The goose is loose.
The goose is loose. Again, I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, yes.
And
your father.
Okay, my father. But back to journalism and Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
It's on the bucket list to try to meet him somehow, some ways.
I know, because you've been trying hard for many years. And Bruce, if you're listening, please come on the podcast.
I'm going to tag you in this podcast and expect that no one will ever hear it. But yes. So, other interesting journalism stories. I know you covered a burrito eating competition.
I covered a burrito eating competition. And this was shortly after we had our son. So birth weights of human children was like,
fresh on your mind?
Fresh on my, like, top of mind. So the burrito eating contest, this was in New Paltz at one of the bars there. This is like the biggest burrito I'd ever seen. This is like if you had maybe 2.5 normal dinner plates. He needed like a cafeteria lunch tray to get this thing on. This was a 6-pound burrito, and you have like 3 or 4 people at this bar in New Paltz trying to eat a burrito. That's 6 pounds. You have some kids.
This wasn't a single person.
It is a single person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like cutting.
It's like
up
one of those food challenges.
Food challenges, trying to eat it as fast as they could. Like this is gruesome. You know, like there are human children born who weigh less than this burrito. You know, like that's a big ass burrito.
That is I couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. Yeah, it was one of the weirdest things I've ever covered as a journalist.
I would die if I was trying, or if I managed to finish it. I don't know if I'd ever leave the bathroom.
Yeah. It because it's like, you know, what do you do? You know, you can understand like maybe the hot dog eating competition on Coney Island, like Kobayashi or whoever
I can only eat like 2 hot dogs a
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. I'm ready for the last beer.
All right, I have a little bit more of this one.
You chug that raspberry lemon.
That's oh god, oh man.
Well, I introduce our last beer, which is called Red Bridge gluten-free sorghum beer. What's that look like to you?
Yeah, that's sorghum. So this was really interesting to us because, like, how do you have a beer which the primary ingredient is, you know, gluten
this was one
of some
of
sort.
The guy that helping us picking them out. This was another remark I remember. Oh, gluten-free. That's why it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
And then I noticed as I picked it up, it says Anheuser-Busch at the bottom. Oh, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, normally if you are gluten-free, the thing that you're probably going to be trying to drink is a cider, maybe some wine, because both of those are fruit-based, so they're not going to have gluten in it. So you already have alternatives. You know what I mean? You in no way need to be drinking this beer. This is not like a medical requirement.
I've never heard of or seen this before.
Yes. So this is a very Red Bridge beer. Is it like an ale? Does it have a style of beer? Is it like a pilsner?
It just says Red Bridge. It just says made without wheat or barley.
This is not going to be fun, man. I can already tell.
Look, the finish line is in sight. This is the last one. And we have chugged this make your own 6-pack in an hour. So
yes.
Well, we talked about creepy clowns,
and this is a regrettable make your own 6-pack. This is not.
Oh, this is the make your. This is. Is there a word for 6 like trifecta? Like trifecta for 3?
I mean, it's probably sexfecta, but that
Sex
sounds
fecta
really
from
bad.
hell.
Yeah,
I feel like that has multiple meanings. It's the sex fecta from hell, but we'll go with that.
I mean, there's got to be a word that's like that, but yeah, you know, because normally you go to the beer store. You're like, let's get something we're excited about in our make your own 6-pack. This is not that 6-pack.
No, this is the opposite of what
exact.
This is the opposite 6-pack of what you would be excited about.
No, yeah, this is not a good Friday night, folks.
Well,
cheers,
cheers. Well, but let me put it this way. I mean, the end effect is really the same. We'd be feeling the same with good beer.
That's true. That's
good
true.
beers at this point
because it's not like you can tell it still has alcohol in it. You know, it's not like you're not feeling any effect at all. It's just I have heartburn and I kind of regret my life choice.
This one smells like Dale's Pale Ale tasted, which I said it tasted like goat urine.
It smells kind of like chalky, like mint almost.
Oh wow, that's bad.
Oh, what is the green anti-diarrheal medicine? It tastes like that.
Is there a green one?
Yeah, like that.
That's
liquid...
not Pepto.
No, not Pepto. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's that green nasty sludge from the medicine counter.
I don't know. This has like some taste I've tasted before, but I just can't place.
Does it say what's in this? Like what they used?
Garbage? Straight from
water, fermented sorghum, corn syrup, hops, and yeast.
So
those are the ingredients.
As vague as they can be.
As vague as they can be, but yeah. Would you like me to look up what sorghum is so we know what we're drinking?
You can try.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
This is a very... I mean, it's not...
Oh, speaking of
not
goats.
a bad flavor, right?
It's not the worst of the 6.
It's not
flavor-wise.
the worst of the 6 flavor-wise, but it doesn't taste like beer.
It does not.
No.
I don't know if that's just the fact that there's no gluten in it.
I mean, that is one of the primary ingredients of a beer.
Going back to Dale's Pale Ale, and speaking of goats, you saw earlier today about the goats in Boise, Idaho.
The goats of Boise, Idaho were on the loose today.
They were on the loose. This was the news article of the day.
The news article of the day. New York Times even covered it. It was that big.
It was around 100 goats.
Approximately 100 goats.
Approximately 100 goats that randomly got loose and nobody knew from where in Boise, Idaho. They got loose through a residential neighborhood, just eating everything they saw. People's lawns, flower beds, their gardens, all the vegetation on their trees. I'm like, I can't imagine opening the door to leave for work and seeing 75 or 100 goats just staring back at me. I'd feel like
Chris, you're not going to work today. What the hell is going on with all these goats?
That sound creeps me out. I feel like they'd be sitting. It's like I forgot who I was talking to, but I just picture some guy standing there like watering his lawn with the
getting headbutted by a goat.
No, he's standing there with the hose and the nozzle in his hand, watering the lawn. He has like headphones on. He just turns around and there's 100 goats sitting there staring at him, looking like they're ready to eat his skin.
Oh man. I mean, there is a reason why goats are associated with like the occult, because they're a freaky looking animal.
Oh,
do you know like the goat eye is like? Have you ever seen like a close up picture of a goat eye? Because they're
no.
like a line across
I can tell you what I have seen.
Iris. What's that?
Clown beatings.
Clown beatings. Yes. Nice segue, Chris.
And it all comes full circle.
You seem haunted.
I am haunted by what I have seen.
I mean, you have talked about this several times today. It's all coming back to the clowns.
It's been so distracting.
So do you know
back to goats?
No, but back to clowns. What was it about the clowns that you're like, okay, I really need to do this. Like this is gonna be my day. Just what was that spark in your head? You must have had like
I don't
something.
know. We started talking about the creepiness of clowns, and then it went to John Wayne Gacy.
Yep. And there's this. I mean,
and then
yeah.
And then I started reading like research articles. What makes clowns creepy? The
like
face paint,
climbing up that creepy clown ladder.
It's like
gotta find out
the face paint, the abnormalities under the face paint, essentially not being able to read their face and knowing what they want to do.
Yeah. Unpredictability. Yeah.
Yes, it's the unpredictability behind
a lot
a clown.
like a goat.
A lot like a goat.
Yeah, eating your shrubbery.
I will say, as they went through town, eating everyone's lawns and vegetation, they were apparently. I looked it up later on because I really wanted to know how this saga ended, as they refer to it as the. I forgot the term. Goatscapade. It was the goatpocalypse at first.
Yes, goatpocalypse.
Then it was the goatscapade.
Yep.
Which was a
Goatmageddon.
Goatmageddon. Goatscapade might have been my favorite.
It sounds like that's like goats on ice. You know what I mean? Like let's go to the goatscapade, man.
Slap some ice skates on them. Put them in a rink. I might pay to see that.
That would be a very interesting show, the Goatscapade.
Goatscapade.
Goatscapade, coming to the Egg in Albany.
Better than Marvel on Ice, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
But as it turns out, they were, as the article put it, professional goats.
Professional goats, a paid service.
A paid service by a company called We Rent Goats.
Yes, creative name.
It's a creative name because if you were wondering what company calls themselves We Rent Goats, they do exactly as they say. Nothing more, nothing less.
No false advertising.
No, there is no false advertising.
They do rent goats.
They just rent out goats to just eat your weeds and whatever you want them to eat. I almost said only in the Midwest, but I'm sure it's everywhere.
Well, because it's actually, and that was maybe tying back to the journalism stuff. The goat thing is...
See, I knew this would come full circle.
It's legit, yeah, because you learn... One of the weird things about journalism is you learn just a little bit about everything, and it's entirely useless. It doesn't help you in any way. But so the goats, they're used to eat poison ivy a lot, instead of using like chemicals to spray the poison ivy. But yeah. But
essentially, it came down to
or like weeds in your
a company called We Rent Goats was doing something nearby, and all the goats got loose. But that is still hilarious because I just picture someone stepping outside, seeing 100 goats destroying their lawn, calling their boss. I can't make it to work. I'm trapped inside by goats.
I mean, that would be a hell of a phone call to field.
I feel like you would have to take a picture and send it along so they know you're not lying.
Can you say that again, Chris? Did you say goats? You're trapped inside by goats?
I was reading something about Alaska, like where mooses or something like that will stand in people's driveways.
I can see that. You don't
and
wanna
people
mess.
call in because you don't want to mess with a moose, and people will call into work. There's a moose in the way, and they're like, "It's all right."
Either it's the bull moose, and you don't want to mess with the bull moose, or it's the cow moose, who's probably a mom, like protecting the baby moose. Neither of which would be something to go up against.
No, I don't want to mess with a moose.
Be like, yeah, there's a grizzly bear standing in front of my car. Let me go to work. It's like, nah, maybe go inside, like make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, take some time, you know. It's not a moment to get in the car.
Again, I forgot where this conversation started.
It all started with a very bad six-pack.
That's where this whole
this incredible journey.
This entire podcast is just a display of when things go sideways.
Oh yeah, you thought you were going to have a fun time at the circus until you saw that damn clown. Your whole life is ruined. You went to the beer store. You got a bad thing of beer. Got a bad batch.
Essentially, this night came down to bad beer, clown beatings. And goats.
You know, that's a hell of an episode, Chris.
So I think it's about time. To wrap this up.
Yes.
First off, we talked about clowns a lot longer than I anticipated.
Yes, that was not intentional.
No, that was not intentional. I wanted to print it up and talk about it a little bit, but we really lost track with that.
As maybe befitting, being haunted by the creepiness of bad beer and bad clowns.
Bad beer, bad clowns, as we wrap up with this Red Bridge gluten-free nonsense.
Monstrosity.
Goatstrosity.
Goat-apocalypse.
Goat-apocalypse.
It tastes like a goat.
If I licked a goat, I imagine this is what it would taste like. I like that.
Yes. That should be their tagline. Red Bridge beer. It tastes like a goat. Goat would taste like.
It tastes like licking a goat.
Oh no.
Let me slip into my generic Southern clown voice. It tastes like licking a goat. The South, where men are men and goats aren't safe.
Oh yes.
Could be the Midwest too. I don't know.
It might be a sheep or a cow.
Oh, that's right. The sheep.
Yeah.
Where men are men and sheep are scared.
Yeah.
I did have actually a couple suggestions as I put out the Facebook and Twitter posts. I'm still trying to suck down this last few sips of this beer.
I don't know how I made it through Red Bridge before you did. For the listener, Chris's face is extremely pained right now.
It is.
He's it looks like someone is like stabbing his arm with a knife. He's not having fun.
All right. I might throw up later now. And not from too much, just from quality.
Yeah.
All right. A few beer suggestions I had. Aaron Sturdivant responded to one of my posts. Friend of mine, somebody I met, does a pretty cool horror podcast. Horror with Sir Sturdy. Check that out. Suggested Magic Hat Stout, which I've never tried.
No, but they're not really known for their stouts.
I didn't think. I'm not a big stout fan to begin with, but that's not something Magic Hat's known for, right?
No.
And of course, Anthony from the Video Game Crosstalk podcast fame tweeted, I think it was a Sam Adams.
Okay, that might be the Sam Adams we're drinking now.
It's not the same one we're drinking. And then in parentheses he put, okay, not a craft beer, but it was something like bonfire ale or campfire lager, and it was like drinking liquid smoke. It was humorous at first. It was humorous at first for the experience, then it was just nasty.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony,
I can tell you
the
now.
raspberry one is not much better.
No, I can tell you now. You don't want to just avoid the raspberry lemon as well.
I know the one that I wanted to try that we weren't able to try.
Oh, what was that?
It was Bud Light with Clamato.
Oh, is that a thing?
It was the thing, and
I feel
don't
like that
think
would-
that sounds. Really
I feel
horrendous.
I feel like the taste of that would be if I drank it and then vomited back into the can and then
It would
drank
be
it
the
again
same.
and then drank it again. I feel like that would be the final taste.
It would be the same.
It would be the same.
There would be no flavor difference.
All right. So with that, I think it's time to close everything out. I have notes in front of me how I want to close out a show. My laptop died as we've been drinking and talking about clowns, goats, and nonsense. So, Mike, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah,
This has been an experience.
it sure has. That was some gross beer.
That was some gross beer, but we finished all of it. We got our money's worth. You don't let beer go to waste.
No, although maybe we should have.
I guess if you were going to make an exception, this would fall in that category.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone out there, for listening to this episode, and of course the podcast. The podcasting community is a really great community. You can follow Stories from a Bar on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram at StoriesFAB, StoriesFab, as I just referred to it. You can also follow myself at CSOsborne83 on Twitter. And of course, be sure to subscribe, review, give that 5-star review, because I know you want to. People want to. Mike's going to do it.
It does help though.
I refuse to leave.
It really does.
It helps. It gets out. Help spread the word. And I'm going to sit here and not leave your house
until
I see you
5-star.
click 5 stars. And so until next time, everybody. Until episode 7, I say cheers.
Cheers.